Discover the incredible truth behind a handcuffed pregnant wife's baby shower, one guest knew. As Lisa looked at her reflection in the bathroom mirror, her heart raced. This was supposed to be a joyful day, a celebration of the life growing inside her. But fear gnawed at her, tightening her chest. With her baby shower just hours away, every detail buzzed around her mind like angry bees. Jake, her husband, was running late again. And this time, it wasn't just any delay. He'd been handcuffed, though the reasons were tangled in unjust accusations that haunted him since his return from service. The sun filtered softly through the kitchen window, illuminating the hastily arranged balloons and a table covered in gifts. Friends and family would soon fill the small space, their laughter echoing off the walls if only her heart didn't ache with worry. As a waitress, Lisa had always made a little go a long way, but today she felt the unraveling threads of financial strain tugging at her. She wanted everything to be perfect, especially for their little girl. "Lisa, can you help me with this?" her sister called from the living room, pulling her back to reality. Lisa plastered on a smile, but the weight of what was happening to Jake loomed large. He didn't deserve this. Society looked through a lens of suspicion instead of honor, despite the man he was and the sacrifices he'd made. The first guests started arriving, chatter filling the air like a sweet aroma. Lisa tried to breathe through her growing anxiety. However, when Clary walked through the door, a flicker of hope ignited inside her. Clary had been Jake's friend from high school, and she knew the truth. Before they could even get to the cake cutting, Lisa's phone buzzed. It was a message from Jake. "On my way. Smile for me." She wanted to shout with joy, to wrap herself in his quiet strength, but tension loomed larger than the balloons floating overhead. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Suddenly, the door swung open, and there stood Jake, slightly winded but wearing a bright grin. Relief flooded Lisa, but the room's atmosphere still felt charged. With Clary by her side, she could feel the murmurs in the crowd as they exchanged glances, their judgment lurking unspoken yet palpable. As gifts were unwrapped and cake was served, Lisa couldn't shake the feeling that something was simmering just below the surface. It was Clary who finally shattered that tension. "Can I say something?" she asked, her voice ringing clear above the chatter. The room quieted, eyes shifting toward her, curiosity peaked. With a strength that resonated off the walls, Clary began to recount Jake's true story, the bravery, the honor, the difficult choices made in service of the country. As each word fell from her lips, Lisa felt her heart swell and break in unison. Clary laid bare the struggles Jake faced, revealing a raw truth that coursed through the room like a shockwave. Lisa's chest tightened. She saw guests reevaluating their opinions, their faces shifting from judgment to reflection. During that emotional crescendo, Lisa understood that they were standing on the brink of something transformative for their family and their community. She closed her eyes, envisioning a world where misunderstandings could be swept away, leaving only acceptance in its wake. As the final notes of Clary's speech hung in the air, a new tension rippled through the gathering. Would Jake reclaim his honor? Could they rise above the chasms of bias entrenched in their small town? The questions lingered as guests prepared to leave, the charged atmosphere suggesting that this was only the beginning of an unexpected journey toward redemption. As the guests began to mingle again, Lisa felt a rush of emotions washing over her. The weight of Clary's words still hung in the air, thick with the courage they inspired. Laughter erupted sporadically from the corner as a couple opened one of the gifts, but all Lisa could hear was the pounding of her heart, echoing her unease. Jake stood beside her, his hand resting gently on her back. "You did amazing," he whispered, squeezing her shoulder. The warmth of his touch sent a comforting wave through her, though the nagging anxiety stayed. How much did they understand? Would they truly support him? She searched his eyes, hoping to find reassurance. Instead, she read the flickering doubt that lingered there. "Thank you for standing up for me, Clary. Jake called out, his voice breaking through her thoughts. Clary smiled back, her eyes shimmering with pride. With that small gesture, Lisa could see the fragile bond among their friends starting to mend. But she couldn't shake the feeling of unease. There were still whispers behind the smiles. Did you hear about the situation at the legal clinic? One of their neighbors remarked quietly, a shade too loudly. It's all over town. I heard she trailed off as her friend cut her off. Don't spread rumors. That one tea help anyone. Lisa felt her stomach tighten. Every glance, every comment felt like a piercing gaze, unraveling the fragile threads of normalcy they had tried to weave. She couldn't handle the scrutiny. She needed to protect not just herself, but her soon-to-be-born daughter. As the party continued, Lisa moved with Jake to help serve cake. Each slice felt like it was cutting deeper as she tried not to wince at the tension that hung around them. While she smiled at guests, her heart sank with every titillating statement about bad decisions and troubled lives. The contrast was stark, their joy new and vibrant against her heavy reality. Let us step outside for a breath, Jake suggested after a while, concern etched on his brow. He placed his hand in hers, and they slipped out to the backyard, away from prying eyes. The garden was washed in the glow of the setting sun, casting long shadows that seemed to envelop them. Lisa took a deep breath, inhaling the scent of blooming flowers and fresh earth, trying to anchor herself. Is it me? She said, her voice thick with emotion, the question laced with a tight coil of fear. Am I causing this? The way they see us? Jake shook his head, his focus unwavering. You're not responsible for their ignorance, Lisa. None of this is your fault. She wanted to believe him, to let his words wash over her, but doubts crept in. What if they never see the truth? What if they only see the headlines? Jake's expression hardened with resolve. But you know me. You know I'm not just a headline. I will fight this, for you and our daughter. Just trust in that. Tears brimmed in her eyes as she nodded, willing herself to trust, to believe. Just then, the sound of laughter erupted from within the house again. It was a stark reminder of the world they were trying to navigate, one that felt more tumultuous every day. As they stepped back inside, a newcomer arrived. The door swung open, and a figure loomed, silhouetted against the sunset. Lisa's breath caught in her throat when she recognized the unmistakable stance, the piercing gaze. It was someone from Jake's past, someone whose presence could either heal or drive the final wedge between them. Jake, the voice called out, laced with a mixture of challenge and recognition. Lisa stood frozen, her heart pounding as the tension in the room sprang back to life. What would happen next? Would this stranger's return change everything? The moment hung over them like an ominous cloud, the laughter inside the house fading into a low murmur. Lisa's heart raced as the figure stepped forward, the light spilling over them like a spotlight. Jake's face shifted, his expression hardening, eyes narrowing in an instinctive response to the interruption. Ryan, he managed, the name escaping his lips like a reluctant confession. Lisa could barely process the weight of the name that echoed in the room. She felt an electric jolt of confusion and fear. She shifted closer to Jake, suddenly feeling small and exposed. Ryan's presence was a portal to a past that Jake had never fully shared with her, a past that could unravel everything they had built together. Surprised to see you here, Ryan said, his tone a mix of sarcasm and sincerity. He glanced at Lisa, his gaze sharp, assessing. Should I be or? Jake took a step forward, protective, a clenched fist balled at his side. You shouldn't be here. Not now. Why not, Jake? It's a baby shower, isn't it? Ryan retorted, raising an eyebrow. I thought I'd come to congratulate you. Can't I congratulate an old friend? Lisa felt the air thicken. The tension radiated outwards, invading the space around them, pushing against her chest. She caught a glimpse of the other guests peering through the door, curiosity etched on their faces. Whispers began anew, and she tightened her grip on Jake's arm. You're not a friend, Ryan, Jake snapped, his voice measured yet simmering with anger. You don't know anything about me or my family. Is that so? Ryan smirked, his expression a mix of challenge and something darker. I know the headlines, and I wondered how you'd handle it when they showed up at your door. The implication hung heavy, piercing through the delicate atmosphere of celebration. Everyone was watching, waiting for the drama to unfold. Lisa's instincts pushed her to shield herself and the life growing inside her. She wanted to retreat, to run away from the scrutiny and the blatant judgment that Ryan's presence stirred. "Just leave," Jake said under his breath, but his words were barely audible against the rising tide of emotion. "Leave? Where's the fun in that?" Ryan leaned against the doorframe, an unsettling confidence radiating from him. "You've got everything all set up, the perfect home, the beautiful wife, and now a baby on the way. It's almost picturesque." Lisa's breath hitched at the word wife. The very term felt like a shield, something she believed brought them safety and devotion. But in that moment, it felt fragile, teetering on the edge of collapse. "Enough." Jake's voice broke through the tension, sharper than she'd ever heard before. For a fleeting moment, Lisa felt a flicker of admiration as he stepped between her and Ryan, like a fortress against the storm. "Just say what you came to say and get out," Jake commanded, determination lining his jaw. Ryan chuckled, but behind it was something colder. "You really think that's all I wanted? You're not the only one with a story. Just remember, every picture has its cracks." With that, he stepped back, but not before an unsettling grin crept across his face, revealing the layers of emotion beneath. The moment felt suspended, clinging to Lisa like an echo in her heart. Jake turned to her, protective yet vulnerable. "I'm sorry, Lisa. I should have handled this before. I thought he was out of my life for good." She swallowed hard, emotions bubbling to the surface. "What does he want?" Jake hesitated, looking deeply into her eyes, as if seeking a way to avoid spiraling into the inevitable. "I don't know, but I promise you, he won't disrupt this. Not anymore." As Lisa nodded, the tension thickened again. They were now surrounded by whispers, the weight of Ryan's words still vibrating in the air. The evening had shifted, and uncertainty stirred in the pit of Lisa's stomach like a storm brewing on the horizon. Just then, Ryan raised an eyebrow, his grin devilish. "You think it's just about you two? Wait until the truth comes out. You'll find those cracks." He turned abruptly, heading back towards the door, casting a final glance at Jake. "You'll regret it." Silence fell like a blanket as the air grew colder. Lisa reached for Jake's hand, which felt like a lifeline amidst the chaos. They could fight this. They had to. But as guests resumed their whispers, a sense of dread washed over her. What truth? What cracks? In that moment, Lisa realized their fight was far from over. She could feel the walls closing in as uncertainty loomed, thick and heavy. Was their bond strong enough to withstand whatever Ryan had unleashed? As the party continued, laughter still trying to break through the tension, Lisa's heart raced with a different kind of fear. In that moment, she understood that the real battle was just beginning, and she had to be ready for whatever revelation was lurking around the corner. The chatter resumed slowly, like the hesitant trickle of a stream after a storm. Lisa could feel eyes on her, and she hated every moment of it. The laughter of the partygoers felt bitter and sharp, as though the joy had been eclipsed by Ryan's dark cloud. Her mind raced with unspoken questions. What did he mean by cracks? What truth could he possibly have that would shatter their lives? Jake's body was tense beside her, his jaw clenching with discomfort. Lisa looked at him, searching for answers in the depths of his gaze. He offered her a reassuring smile, but it felt fragile, easily broken. "Just ignore him," he murmured, but the way his voice wavered revealed his own unease. They stood frozen as a couple a few feet away caught a snippet of Ryan's taunts, their expressions shifting from curiosity to concern. Lisa could sense the wave of gossip sweeping through the room, the whispers carrying like the rustling of leaves in the wind. She could almost hear their thoughts. How could he let someone like Ryan back? What did he do to deserve this? Was he really that perfect husband after all? Focusing on her breathing, Lisa clenched Jake's hand tighter. She was tired of being the center of suspicion, the woman caught in a man's past. The warmth of Jake's grip pulsed through her, but it met a wall of dread swirling inside. The fluttering in her stomach had nothing to do with the baby. It was fear of what else might come creeping out of the shadows. "I really thought this would be a perfect day," she finally said, her voice shaky but resolute. "We'll make it perfect," Jake promised, his expression fierce. But deep down, she could see worry shadowing his brow, and she wondered if he believed his own words as if on cue. Ryan chose that moment to re-enter the room, sauntering back with a smugness that felt like a slap to her face. He seemed to revel in the draw of attention, regaining the spotlight just as it had begun to fade. "Just wanted to get something," he said cheerily, as if nothing had happened. "Don't mind me." Every laugh that followed felt like poison, and Lisa's stomach churned. She wanted to shout that he was here to ruin everything, but instead, she remained silent, trapped in her own mind. "Jake," she whispered, urgency lacing her voice. "What do we do if he won't leave us alone? What if he spills whatever it is he knows?" Jake stepped closer, leaning in so only she could hear him. "Don't worry. I have a plan to get rid of him for good," he said softly, but the line of his mouth tightened. "But we need to stay strong. I need you with me." Lisa took a deep breath, trying to steady her racing heart, but the image of Ryan's sinister grin flashed in her mind. What if it doesn't work? What if— "Hey," Jake said, lifting her chin gently with a finger, forcing her to meet his gaze, "we'll figure it out." There was determination in his eyes, but behind that mask, she sensed shadows of uncertainty. The door creaked as a few more guests arrived, distracting them briefly. Lisa felt the weight of the situation pressing heavily on her. The tight-knit family she had envisioned felt impossibly far away, like a fragile dream slipping through her fingers. Just as she thought they had a moment to breathe, Ryan raised his glass, drawing the room's attention. "To new beginnings," he announced, his voice ringing through the awkward hush. Laughter mingled with uneasy applause, but Lisa sensed his intention. It was a taunt, a thread he would unravel to keep them tied to him. Her heartbeat quickened again, and a wave of protective instinct surged within her. "I can't let him do this," she murmured, fear bolstering her courage. "We need to confront him." Jake shook his head. "Not now. It will only escalate things. We play it cool and keep our heads up." But Lisa felt differently. The cracks in their picture-perfect life had been exposed, and silence felt like complicity. There was a truth lurking just beneath the surface, and she wanted answers, not only for herself, but for the child they were about to bring into this world. She scanned the room, her eyes locked onto Ryan, who was now engaged in a conversation with another guest. His smirk, that disarming, unsettling smirk, ignited a fierce determination in her. "Jake, I need you to trust me on this," she said, her voice rising above the noise. "I have to know what he is hiding." Jake's eyes widened slightly as he considered her words, a flush of worry working its way across his features. "Are you sure? This could be dangerous." But Lisa stood strong, no longer wanting to hide in the shadows of uncertainty. "I have to do this. For us." In that moment, the fear transformed into a fire, igniting a resolve that felt almost empowering. The truth had to come to light, and they could no longer let Ryan control their narrative. Lisa took a step towards Ryan. She felt the pulse of the room shift. Would she be ready for whatever truth awaited her? Jake reached out to grasp her arm as she moved, a warning lacing his touch. She turned back to him, determination blazing in her eyes. Together they could face darkness. But what would they find when they confronted the truth? The uncertain shadows ahead lingered, whispering secrets that were desperate to emerge. Lisa took a deep breath, her heart hammering in her chest. With each step toward Ryan, she felt a mixture of dread and defiance swirling inside her. The cacophony of the party faded into background noise, and all that mattered was the man standing before her, shrouded in a cloud of secrets. "Hey, Ryan," she called out, her voice steady despite the tremor beneath. He turned, his grin wide and mocking, like a predator spotting easy prey. "Lisa, so nice to see you," he replied, feigning enthusiasm, although the glint in his eyes told a different story. "We need to talk," she insisted, the words tasting like metal on her tongue. "Now, you want to chat? How fun." He laughed, but it was hollow. The tension crackled in the air between them, palpable and raw. "What is on your mind? Or should I say, who is on your mind?" "Enough with the games, Ryan." Lisa shot back, the fire in her chest igniting. "What do you know about Jake's past? What did you mean by cracks?" She could feel the weight of the room pressing in, the eyes of the guests boring into them. Whispers floated around like ghostly echoes, curiosity spurred by her confrontation. Ryan's demeanor shifted, the playful mask slipping just a bit. He leaned in closer, lowering his voice. "You really want to know? You're sure you can handle the truth?" He relished the moment, savoring the power he wielded, Jake stepped forward, his hand on Lisa's back, offering silent support. Don't play games, Ryan. Stop dragging us into your mess. Ryan straightened up, pretending to think. What can I say? Secrets are never easy to share, especially ones tied to someone's past. His words dripped with sarcasm, laced with an underlying threat. Why are you doing this? Lisa asked, emotion flooding her voice. What do you want? The vulnerability in her question hung in the air like a fragile balloon, and she wondered if she had given him more power by showing any weakness. Let us just say I'm here for a good time, Ryan said, casting a glancing eye around the room, where guests were now half engaged in their own conversations, but keenly aware of the tense standoff. And a good show. Everyone loves a bit of drama at a baby shower, don't they? She felt Jake's grip tighten, his frustration palpable. But Lisa stood her ground, her insides twisting with a mix of anger and fear. This isn't a joke, Ryan. This is our life. Just leave us alone. Her voice cracked, and suddenly she felt exposed, raw. Ryan tilted his head, amusement dancing in his eyes. Leaving you alone? That would be too easy. Think about it. No secrets, no surprises. Boring, right? The laughter that followed felt like a stab in the gut. Lisa glanced at Jake, desperation mixing with their shared resolve. We can't let this continue. He is enjoying this too much. Stay calm. Jake's whisper came at the perfect moment, a grounding force amid the chaos. We'll figure this out, together. Together, she echoed, remembering their promise to one another. She had to be brave. With a final surge of determination, Lisa straightened up, her voice unwavering. Ryan, whatever you think you're doing, it ends here today. The words came out strong, punctuated by hope and fear alike that he raised his glass mockingly. To the end of secrets then. Doesn't he sound like much fun? But amidst the mockery, she could see the flicker of uncertainty in his eyes. You think you hold all the cards, she said, her voice steady now, but I refuse to be your pawn. Whatever you're hiding, it won't control us. As her words hung in the air, a ripple went through the crowd. The whispers grew louder, and the guests began murmuring among themselves, curious about the standoff that had unfolded before them. In this balloon of tension, Lisa could feel the weight of the truth pressing against them. The stakes had never been higher, and as her heart raced, she noticed a flicker of recognition pass between Jake and Ryan. Something tells me this is just the beginning, Ryan said, a knowing smirk creeping onto his face. Now the question loomed larger than ever. How deep did this rabbit hole go? What chilling secrets waited to be uncovered? The air was thick with anticipation, and the truth was waiting just out of reach, as everything around them felt like it was about to unravel. As Lisa stood her ground, ready for whatever came next, she took a deep breath, knowing that this confrontation could change everything. What other revelations lurked in Ryan's shadow? Lisa's chest tightened as the murmur of the party reached a crescendo, turning into an almost deafening roar. She could feel the weight of every gaze, the prickle of anticipation sharpening her senses. Ryan's smirk cut through the din, setting her on edge. What are you so afraid of, Lisa? He taunted, his eyes narrowing. Is it that Jake's past might catch up to him? Or is it just your little bubble of happiness that you're afraid will burst? Shut up, Ryan, Jake interjected, pulling Lisa closer, creating a small fortress with his body. His protective instinct surged, and she leaned into it, drawing strength from his closeness. You don't know anything about our life. Oh, but I do, Ryan said, his tone dripping with sickly sweet mockery. I've seen things that could change how you see each other. Trust me, this party is about to get much more interesting. The crowd, which had been buzzing with light chatter, now leaned in, curiosity piqued. Lisa could practically feel the energy pulsing through the room, thick and strange, as whispers and hushed conversations flitted like butterflies. She glanced at the guests, all watching, but none daring to intervene. The tension felt almost electric. Please, just say what you have to say, Lisa spoke, forcing her voice to remain steady, but the tremor betrayed her. Spit it out. Ryan took a breath, relishing the moment. All right, but let me set the stage first. He leaned back, drumming his fingers against the side of his glass, a sinister grin plastered on his face. You see, Jake isn't who you think he is. There are cracks in his perfect little backstory. And the truth has a funny way of coming to light. Stop. Lisa cut him off, fury and fear colliding in her chest. I won't let you do this. The words hung in the air, heavy and charged. For a moment, Lisa thought Ryan might actually retreat, reconsidering the game he was playing. But his smirk only deepened. Just imagine it, Lisa. A future painted with all the lies served up on a silver platter. What if Jake has been hiding something monumental? His eyes glinted as he dropped the bombshell. What if you and your little one are in danger? Lisa's heart sank. The threat, though wrapped in layers of intimidation, rang true in the pit of her stomach. She watched Jake's lips press into a hard line, his anger barely contained. You're lying, he said, his voice low and dangerous. You wouldn't dare. Wouldn't I? Ryan shrugged, his gaze flicking toward the crowd, who were hanging on every word. What fun would that be? Lisa felt Jake's warmth beside her, grounding her, but doubts swirled in her mind. What if there was truth beneath Ryan's twisted games? She clung to Jake's arm, searching his eyes for answers. Jake, what is he talking about? I don't know, Elle. I swear, he replied, urgency filling his tone. But we need to get out of here. No, we can't back down now, she insisted, defiance bolstering her resolve. He's trying to provoke us. Ryan took a step closer, relishing their discomfort. Oh, but it gets better. You see, I've been waiting for the perfect moment to reveal everything. This baby shower? It's just the beginning of a grand theater, all courtesy of your precious partner. An icy grip of fear wrapped around Lisa's heart. The crowd felt restless, a wave of expectation rolling through them. Ryan was drawing them all in, and she could sense the energy shifting as intrigue morphed into apprehension. And now, Ryan continued, daringly glancing between Lisa and Jake. You'll have to decide if love really can conquer all, or if the truth will tear you apart. She turned towards Jake, desperation flooding her. We can't let him win this, she whispered urgently. What do we do? In that moment, with the walls closing in and Ryan's words hanging like a guillotine above their heads, Lisa felt an overwhelming sense of resolve. We have to stand up against him together. Just then, a sudden realization hit her hard. The truth was already within their reach, hidden beneath layers of deception. As Lisa locked eyes with Jake, she knew the battle was far from over and the real fight was just beginning. What lay ahead was a dangerous road, but in her heart, an ember of hope flickered brightly. What secrets were hidden, and would they be strong enough to face whatever came? The next revelation was lurking just beyond the shadows. The silence that followed was thick enough to cut. Lisa felt the world narrow to just Jake and her, as Ryan's taunts bounced around the room. She inhaled deeply, the air feeling sharp and cold in her lungs. Let us not give him the satisfaction of being afraid, she muttered, her voice low. She could see the tension in Jake's shoulders, the way he clenched his jaw. We need to show everyone that we're not backing down. Jake nodded, though his expression remained a mask of concern. You're right, but we also need to think. We can't just charge in blindly. Lisa glanced back at Ryan, who was watching them with a predatory gleam in his eye. You know, Ryan, it's funny. You're trying to show us how fragile our happiness is, but you're the one that's shaking. Guess you don't have the upper hand after all. A ripple of murmurs spread through the gathered crowd. She could see some guests exchanging uncertain glances, others daring to inch closer, their curiosity outweighing their concern. The only steady presence was Jake, his hand firmly gripping hers, as if ready to brace for whatever came next. Get used to being scared, Lisa, Ryan said, a mock sincerity in his tone. We're all just waiting for the big reveal. I mean, can you really say you know the man you're with? Stop dancing around it, Lisa shot back. What do you think you know? What do you think will change our lives forever? Ryan leaned in, leaning against the bar, fingers tracing the glass as he spoke. Let me give you a hint. Things aren't always what they seem. Let us just say Jake has a past, one that might catch up to you both. Sometimes, even the best intentions lead straight to disaster. Lisa's heart raced, dread and uncertainty mixing into a thick brew in her stomach. Enough with the riddles, she demanded, trying to keep her voice steady despite the tremors of fear inside her. Either you tell us what you know, or we're done listening. Jake tightened his hold on her, his strength reassuring. She needed to believe they could weather this storm together. She needed to hold on to that hope. Ryan smirked. a glint in his eye that made her skin crawl. You want a straight answer? Then let us make it easy. You think that I would come here unprepared? He waved a hand over the crowd, and suddenly, silence enveloped them again, as if he had orchestrated it all. Then, as if a switch flipped, he pointed to a woman at the edge of the room. Ask her about Jake's past. Go ahead. The woman looked caught off guard, her eyes darting around nervously. Lisa recognized her as Jessica, a friend of some friends. She had always seemed nice, just a quiet observer at gatherings. But now, Lisa felt small and exposed, and the weight of Ryan's accusation pressed down upon her. Jessica? Lisa called cautiously, willing her voice to be calm. The room held its breath along with her. Do you know something we don't? Jessica hesitated, her gaze shifting to Jake before settling back on Lisa. I've heard things about Jake's past, but I'm not sure what is true and what isn't. Ryan's laughter erupted like fireworks among a crowd that exploded with mixed reactions, gasps, murmurs, and even a few shouts of outrage. The atmosphere was electrifying, and Lisa felt dizzy. See, Ryan said, his grin widening. The plot thickens. Lisa's heart pounded in her chest. You can't just dangle that in front of us. What kind of game are you playing? I'm not playing a game, Ryan shot back, a sudden edge to his tone. I'm giving you a chance to see the truth. She turned to Jake, searching his expression for clues. You have to tell me everything, Jake. If there is something I need to know. Jake's eyes were alight with determination, but mixed with pain. I will, Lisa. Just let me figure out how to protect us first. Lisa's heart wavered. The uncertainty loomed large, and the question hung heavy. What truths waited to be uncovered? The night felt darker, the crowd's curiosity like a blade she could feel pressing against her skin as the tension permeated the air. One thing became certain. They were about to dive deeper into a labyrinth of secrets and emotions that could change everything. She took a breath, steeling herself. Would they survive this revelation together, or was a fracture beginning to show? The shadows were closing in, and the night was only just beginning to unveil their darkest fears. The air was thick, charged with the weight of unspoken truths. Lisa turned her gaze between Ryan and Jessica, feeling their eyes pierce through her. Her heart thudded like a drum, a nervous rhythm setting the tone of the moment. Was this really happening? Here she was, at what should have been a celebration, and it had transformed into a scene ripe with tension. Jessica, please, she urged, her voice barely above a whisper but rife with urgency. Even as doubts swirled within her mind, she needed clarity, something to anchor her against the chaos. Jessica hesitated again, vulnerability painted across her features. I just heard that Jake had issues in the past, she began, her words slow as if she were weighing each one. Like, something serious. Maybe involving trouble with the law, or something more. Those words struck Lisa like a slap. She looked at Jake, who remained immovable, his jaw clenched, masking every emotion that raged within. Jake, what is this about? Is it true? Jake's expression drooped, the light in his eyes dimming under the weight of their conversation. Lisa, Ryan seized the moment, stepping closer, relishing every ounce of tension he could draw from the crowd. See, he can't even deny it. A man with secrets is a man who can't be trusted. His voice dripped with mockery, pulling the crowd into his orbit of judgment. No, Lisa snapped, her voice rising, but she turned back to Jake, her eyes softening. Jake, just tell me what happened. We can handle it, whatever it is. He took a deep breath, and for a moment, Lisa saw her Jake, the man full of hope, the one who dreamt of a future with her. What you need to understand, he started slowly, is that everyone has a past. The mistakes I made, they don't define who I am now. They were mistakes, born out of desperation. Lisa felt the sting of tears welling up. But Ryan wouldn't bring this up without reason. What did you do? Silence hung between them, palpable and dense. Jake's eyes darkened as he searched for the right words. I got involved with some unsavory people a few years ago. It was foolish, but I was trying to find my way. The specifics, he nodded his hands, and Lisa noticed the tremble of his fingers. I didn't want that life, and I got out. I don't want you to carry that burden. The crowd seemed to lean in, feeling the gravity of the moment. Whispers broke like waves around them. Lisa weighed his words. Life with Jake meant resilience, strength, the promise of a future together. But in that same breath, They came with shadows lurking just out of sight. Jessica chimed in cautiously. I didn't want to spread rumors, but it felt important to say something. I thought you deserved to know. Then why didn't you come to me? Lisa pressed, her voice a mix of desperation and betrayal. Why did it take Ryan to bring this up? I didn't know how to say it, Jessica responded, her features etched in regret. Sometimes, it's easier to stay silent, to let someone else drop the bomb. Lisa turned back to Jake, who was resolutely searching her eyes. I was terrified of losing you, Lisa, he admitted, his voice dropping to a whisper, filled with emotion. I thought I could leave it all behind. But now, so this is it, she said, her heart sinking. You're going to keep running? Are we going to let Ryan dictate how we live? It's not about running. Jake yelled in frustration, but there was a hint of fear in his voice, a fear of more than just Ryan. It's about protecting us from my mistakes. Maybe I don't want to be protected, Lisa shot back, her temper flaring. I want honesty. If this is who you are, then we fight through this together, or we don't fight at all. The room felt absolutely quiet. It felt like a showdown, the crowd holding their breath as the truth sparked between them, a fragile thread threatening to snap. Lisa's heart raced, the choice looming dangerously ahead. Could she stand beside him now that a chasm of unknown history had opened between them? Meanwhile, Ryan's glare remained, a predator waiting patiently, ready to strike again. In that pivotal moment, Lisa felt a shift inside her. Was she ready for what was to come? If they stayed quiet now, the shadows would only grow darker. Jake's voice was strained, but she could see something brewing behind his eyes, fear, yes, but also a fierce resolve. And as the weight of their past threatened to crush them both, a glimmer surged in Lisa's chest, hope, yes, but also a fierce need for clarity. We need to decide right now who we are, she declared, feeling that urgency build. The room buzzed with uncertainty, the air electric. Would they rise together, or would they falter at the hands of their secrets? With the trembling voice of truth echoing around them, she knew the real confrontation was only just beginning. How much longer could they ignore the truth before it devoured them whole? Lisa's anxiety spiked. This could be a defining moment, or a fracture that could tear them apart completely. Lisa stared at Jake, feeling like the ground beneath her was shifting. She wanted to reach out, to pull him close, but each heartbeat reminded her of the distance that now lay between them. The crowd had become an unwelcoming sea of silent spectators, their eyes alight with curiosity, judgment, and maybe, just maybe, a flicker of empathy. Lisa, Jake said again, more firmly this time. I don't want to lose you. I thought I could keep this a secret forever. That the past wouldn't catch up to me. His vulnerability hung in the air, each word a thread that pulled at her heart. Secrets have a way of surfacing, don't they? Ryan's voice slithered back into the conversation, tauntingly. And when they do, they hurt more than any truth ever could. Look around, Lisa. This is what he's brought upon you. Ignoring Ryan, Lisa turned back to Jake, searching his eyes for the hope he promised. What do you want? What do you need from me? The question felt like a plea more than an inquiry, a desperate grasp for understanding. I want you to see me, he said, his voice cracking slightly, the real me. Not the mistakes I made years ago. I've changed. I'm not that guy anymore. But what if the past comes back? What if it finds you? Panic crept into her voice. You've worked so hard to build a life here. Can we just erase everything? I've got to face it head on, even if it's scary. I can't drag you into my mess without you knowing about it, Jake said, an intensity igniting in his gaze. But I refuse to let it define our future. You have to trust me. Lisa bit her lip, her emotions roiling inside. Trust, it was such a fragile thread. She had navigated her relationship on it for so long. Could she take a leap of faith when just below her was a chasm of uncertainty? I want to believe you, she said, tears threatening to spill over. But you have to show me it's more than just words. Beneath the whispering chaos, Lisa felt a change ripple through the crowd. She could sense empathy weaving into her surroundings. It was raw, unfiltered, and almost contagious. This didn't have to be just about her and Jake. Their fight felt larger, an echo of many others grappling with their own shadows. Jake, are you in this with me? She asked fiercely, her heart racing with that question, a question laden with significance. Because if we're going to make this work, we need to be honest with each other, no more hiding. I'm in, he said, and a warmth enveloped his words, breaking the chill that had settled on her heart. I'll do whatever it takes. I won't run from my past anymore. That small flicker of hope within her grew brighter. But Ryan wasn't finished. And when your past catches up to you, what then? Are you both prepared for that? You think you can just ignore the truth and play house? You're only setting yourself up for heartbreak. Enough, Lisa shouted, her voice echoing with a newfound assertiveness. She was done letting Ryan dictate how she felt. This is my life. If I choose to stand by Jake, that's my decision. As the tension reached fever pitch, she glanced around, feeling the crowd lean in further, captivated by the emotional standoff. They were witnessing something profound, and hope rippled through her like a spark catching fire. I love you, Lisa, Jake said, and the vulnerability in his voice made the room feel smaller, more intimate. No matter what happens, I want us to fight this together. Lisa took a deep breath, feeling that weight lift slightly. Then we take this battle on together. No more running. No more secrets. Just the truth. In that moment of unity, it felt like they were on the brink of something beautiful. But in the depths of her heart, a different kind of fear began to pulse what would come next. As they embraced, ready to face their storms together, Lisa felt a chill run down her spine. Would their love withstand the trials ahead? Yet, deep down, she held on to a thread of belief. This was just the beginning. What would happen when the truth they faced was more dangerous than either of them could imagine? The room grew quiet, an electric tension wrapping around every guest. Every whisper stilled as if the air itself held its breath. Lisa stood face to face with Jake, their hands intertwined like lifelines. A sense of unity pulsed between them, a buoy in the turbulent sea of lingering suspicion and hidden fears. Jake, Lisa said softly, her voice steady as she took a deep breath. Whatever happens next, we face it together. He met her gaze, the storm in his eyes offering a flicker of hope, one she desperately needed. Ryan chuckled, the sound cold and mocking, piercing through their shared moment. Ah, the power of love. How quaint. But sweet Lisa, you're only deluding yourselves. The finest silk can still tear under pressure. But Lisa, emboldened by Jake's unwavering presence, found herself standing taller. We want to let you control our narrative, Ryan. You don't get to define our story anymore. Something had shifted inside her, a protective fire igniting against Ryan's taunts. What's next? Will we see a new headline tomorrow? Ryan leaned in closer, eyes glinting maliciously. Jake the hero, or Jake the villain? Your stories are flimsy as they are, but I could help enough. Jake shouted, his voice filling the space like a storm crashing through the peace. We want to live in fear. This ends now. I've worked too hard for a brighter future. He stepped closer to Ryan, the tension tightening as Lisa felt the ripple of apprehension around the room. Ryan's mask slipped, a flicker of irritation surfacing. You think you can simply brush me off? He leaned back slightly, arms crossed in defiance. Yet Lisa sensed a tremor of uncertainty. I can unveil everything. The town will love it. It saved their evening, after all. But Jake steadied his gaze, resolute. If you're so obsessed with tearing us down, then let us bring it out into the light. Go ahead, share whatever secrets you think you have. I've faced my demons. What makes you think I'd shy away from the truth? Ryan opened his mouth, a frame of words ready to tumble, but Lisa interjected, her voice ringing with emboldened vulnerability. The truth scares you, doesn't it? It terrifies you because it strips away the power you think you have over us. This is our life, not yours. Ryan faltered for a moment, caught off guard by her strength. The faces of the onlookers began to shift, finally recognizing the strength of the couple standing amidst the chaos. Whispers of encouragement and solidarity began to ripple through the crowd, words of strength infused into a tense atmosphere. Look around you, Ryan, Jake said, turning to the guests, pulling them into the moment. These people may have doubts, but they deserve the truth. Every single person here deserves that. He looked back at Lisa, and she felt the warmth of his conviction wrap around her like armor against the looming darkness. What if your truth is simply a cover-up for the chaos underneath? Ryan asked, his bravado waning as he gauged the crowd's shifting loyalties. Life has a way of revealing cracks, remember? Maybe it does, Jake replied firmly, but I'm not that man anymore. We're carving out a future, and I have no intention of letting you rip apart what we've built. A chorus of murmurs floated through the crowd, each word amplifying the transformation unfolding before them. In that moment, Lisa knew they were on the precipice of something monumental. Sharing fears and insecurities together was a risk, but behind that risk lay a powerful truth. They weren't going to let Ryan reclaim their narrative. Then something remarkable happened. The guests began to support them. Words of resilience floated in the air as friends stepped forward, recalling fond memories of Jake. Clary raised her glass, her voice ringing out, "Let us toast to honesty, to growth, and to choosing love instead of fear," igniting a fresh wave of affirmation through the room. Lisa felt tears sting her eyes as she nodded along, her heart swelling. This is what it meant to build a community, to stand united in the face of uncertainty, to lift each other higher even when shadows from the past loomed nearby. Ryan's demeanor shifted, his confident facade dimming as he realized he was quickly losing control. "You think this changes anything? It doesn't matter if they rally behind you. What happens when I reveal true darkness? Darkness can only thrive in silence," Jake countered, his grip tightening around Lisa's hand. "But we are stronger together. The truth will always win out in the end, especially when we face it head-on." Ryan's face twisted in frustration, the facade of confidence slipping entirely. He took a step back, his power waning as the party sparkled with renewed energy. Laughter mixed with quick glances amongst friends, solidifying a newfound bond. Just as Ryan opened his mouth to retort, Lisa stepped forward, her heart blazing with courage. "We will celebrate love and truth, even if it terrifies us. So, save your theatrics, Ryan. We are stronger than your past and any dark shadow you could throw." In the ensuing silence, the breaths of the guests echoed their support, and the warmth of love filled the gap between Jake and Lisa. They had chosen each other, and that choice illuminated the way forward. And in that pivotal moment, they saw the truth not just for themselves, but for their family, friends, and community. It wasn't simply a confrontation. It was the birth of an alliance, a commitment to embrace imperfections and rise above challenges together. As the evening drew to a close, Lisa turned to Jake, tears of relief in her eyes. "We did it," she whispered, heart full. "Together." Jake responded with a grateful smile, his expression radiating hope. This is just the beginning. For the first time that day, Lisa let herself envision a future filled with the kind of light they would cultivate in the strength behind truth, in the love they fortified against the world outside. Together, they could hold the darkness at bay, one day at a time. And as laughter and warmth filled the room, perched on the cusp of change, they embraced. The past would always be a part of them, but they had a choice, one they would continue to make, hand in hand, heart open, and ready for whatever life would ignite. So much awaited them on the horizon. Together, they stepped forward into the night, ready to navigate every storm with unwavering hope in their hearts. Now was the moment for their story to truly unfold, one they would write together, full of love and resilience, embracing every semblance of truth along the way. This is the moment where you need to subscribe immediately to our channel so you don't miss out on the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us grow. And don't forget to comment with your reactions and feelings about the ending. Your voice matters. Finally, share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait, not even one more second, to show your support. True fans understand the importance of these actions in bringing more incredible content to life.